I thank you very much for tuning in to That Will Never Work podcast. For the first 3 years of business can feel like chaos with too many ideas, not enough traction, and a constant battle between passion and burnout. So today's guest, Nadja, helps entrepreneurs transform from chaos into clarity, crafting marketing strategies that build brands with confidence, focus, and long term impact. And we'll talk about it right after this.
Educate, empower, enable, impact. Thank you for tuning in to That Will Never Work, an award-winning podcast where we share inspiring information and personal experiences related to business and the entrepreneurial journey from those who are leaders in their respective field. Now, here's your host, author and business coach, Maurice.
So, my guest is strategic, she is grounded, and she is empowering. And I want y'all to know that she is a marketing strategist, consultant, and brand clarity expert who helps entrepreneurs turn scattered efforts into smart strategy. So, Nadja, many entrepreneurs feel like they're doing all the things but getting nowhere. What's the first mindset shift a new business owner needs to move from chaos to clarity?
Well, that's a great question to start with, Maurice. That's the $1,000,000 question, right? Well, I would say before you start, make sure that you truly understand who you want to work with. Who's your audience? What's the problem that you're solving? Those are not surprising milestones right in the beginning. Everybody talks about that, right? But so few people are doing it. So oftentimes when I meet people, we're just about to start working together, I find them in two different places. And it's kind of like it's a sliding scale. They either trying everything and they're throwing spaghetti at the wall and nothing sticks, or they're on the other side of the spectrum and they're just in preparation mode. They're stuck. They feel they're never ready, and both places leave you incredibly frustrated. And that is where oftentimes people give up right out of the gate because both creates this really negative feedback spiral for yourself. And so while, as you know yourself, you're never ready,
You're
you
right.
just need to start. But there are a few fundamentals that you want to have in place first. And that is definitely who's the audience, what are you uniquely delivering, and what's the transformation you're providing, what's the problem you're solving. And that needs to be really, really niche, very precise. And once you're really clear on that, you're able to show up with so much more confidence and clarity just in the way you introduce your business, the way you talk to that person in the line of the coffee shop. So those are those core moments, and if you don't have clarity, you'll see yourself rambling, you'll see yourself introducing yourself every time differently, and then you're surprised that it doesn't stick. So
So,
those are the first nuggets I'm going to throw at you.
so what are some of the common mistakes entrepreneurs make very early on? And I'm gonna give you an idea. We'll start off with this. A lot of times we're told, build it and they will come, right? And because we have that idea, we think that, hey, we have this great idea. The market, they need you. Here's a brand new crayon that needs to go in the crayon box. I'm just
Sure.
throwing something out there, right?
Yeah.
And so now I need you to go put it out there and let everybody know that this is the best color that no one has ever seen. But how do you get it out there? So what is the common thought or common mistakes you see entrepreneurs make very early on?
I think exactly what you just said. Build it and they will come. And that's
Mhm.
such a misconception because it looks oftentimes in hindsight, very successful entrepreneurs, very
Mhm.
successful brands and companies. It looks so easy in the end. It looks so easy, the Monday morning a quarterback
Right.
thing. But it's in the details. It's in the details. And it really starts with you being clear on who wants to. Let's stick with that crayon. I love that.
Mhm.
Who's gonna be looking for that crayon? Who needs
Mhm.
that crayon? They probably don't even know that they need this crayon.
Right.
So you have to start with really drilling in deeply into who needs this crayon.
Mm-hmm.
I love this. So we have an example now. I love it. So what do you want to do? First of all, you need to understand, is this a crayon? Is this for adults? Is this for kids? Is this for
Mm-hmm.
teenagers? What materials are they going to use it with?
Mm-hmm.
Is this going to be something you want to use in school? Is it after school? Is it like, where is it gonna come into use? And then you want to check who makes the purchase decision.
Mm.
Is it mom or dad? Is it grandma because it's a stocking stuffer? Is it, like, who is ultimately gonna make the purchase decision?
Right.
And then you want to be so crystal clear further and say, where do we find them? How can
Mm.
you address parents that are looking and buying for school supply, right? Like certainly Target, Amazon, Walmart. Like, what are those big box places,
Mm-hmm.
either online or offline, that people will be shopping for that specific category? And then once you're at the shelf, digitally or physically, how do you make sure that people understand that this is a really special crayon? And those are just a few examples. If
Mm-hmm.
you don't have really specifically down what this product is doing,
Mm-hmm.
who this is for, what is it doing, how is it different from all the other things, that's the ingredients for a strategy that really differentiates your product
Mm-hmm.
or your service or whatever whatever it's applying to you. So it really starts with that. But the biggest problem people oftentimes have, and the
Mm-hmm.
biggest mistake people make in the beginning, is thinking that everybody can use this crayon.
Right.
It's so amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody should have this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, guess what? If you are trying to market to everybody, you're marketing to no one.
Right.
Marketing rule number one. And so while it feels scary and people don't want to go down the rabbit hole and lock
Mm-hmm.
themselves into a smaller set of the audience and niching down, it's like, but there's so many people who could use this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you have to start with one place. You have to
Mm-hmm.
start with that
Mm-hmm.
first purchase. Who is that person who's going to be willing to spend those extra dollar for this specific crayon? And
Wow.
it's really so simple. And everybody out there, well, 90% are just getting it wrong because they're just so obsessed with the idea that everybody should use it, but they fail in articulating what's the difference,
Mm-hmm.
why is it special, why should you care,
Mm-hmm.
and then translating that into a message that actually sticks, that people understand. That's not jargon, that
Right.
is not the words that you have in your mind when you talk about it. But you
Mm-hmm.
have to understand, how is that parent thinking about it? What are the
Right.
features you might be really obsessed with, but the consumer doesn't care?
Right.
So
Mm-hmm.
that's probably the first thing that I would always tell my clients. You gotta be obsessed with your consumer, and not
Mm-hmm.
with all of them, but specifically the one that you can um, build your marketing blueprint on. That's
So
going to be highly specific. You want to give that person a name. You need to know what their dog's name is. So it's really, you got to be really obsessed with that person.
right.
You got to know, do they go to Target or do they shop at
Mm-hmm.
Walmart?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Are they like, where do we find them? Because that's the only way. You need to be able to find your person, to convince them in a split second that this is something that
Mm.
they need, even though they didn't know, which is what marketing does,
Mm-hmm.
telling you about things you didn't know you need and make you buy them.
Right.
Um, and I think it really starts again. It's about the clarity and the fundamentals. That's how I work in my business.
Mm-hmm.
I always tell my clients, listen, because I work a lot with people from the trades, right? And so I say, hear me out. When you want to know how high a building is built, you got to see how deep they're digging the foundation.
Mm.
And that is what often people skip. They just think about like, the nice angles and how's it going to look from, curbside appeal. You
Right.
have to lay the foundation, and that is tough. It takes time. It is work. But that's going to be the key. That's the fundamental. If you want to really have a business that is sustainable and can sustain through headwinds, through
Mm-hmm.
economic changes, through changes in your supply chain.
Mm.
When you have the strong foundation, you will be able to really to sail through those patchy waters
So,
when they come,
but
because they will
Nadia,
come.
I mean, I'm gonna tell you that because you've especially for those this show is about talking to those individuals who are just stepping out into entrepreneurship, right? And I'm listening to what you're saying, And I'm gonna be honest with you, if I had to put myself in those people's shoes, I'll be doing the Home Alone, vibe, right? Because it's just so much that you had given me, and maybe because my emotions are attached to this, right? And I don't understand. Maybe I need to have a crisis management moment. Hey, you know what? If this product or this vendor falls apart or whatever it is, what is my backup plan? Whatever it is. So now, like, you give me all this information, and again, I go back into my what should I do moment. So how do I adjust that? Because there's something else that you had said, is because you gave a whole lot of nuggets. There's something else that we have to understand in marketing too, is the feedback loop and understanding, like you said, what the clients are. Maybe we need to readjust, reassign, whatever it might be. So how do we deal with that, taking out our emotions out of this situation and trying to be a little bit more grounded and a little more logical in that process?
I'm so glad you bring that topic up because mindset is probably the biggest part of my work. And I do
Mhm.
think that 90% of everything that we do is mindset.
Mhm.
And you're absolutely right. When you as a founder have just this panic mode, the survival mode, right? Your lizard brain. So the lizard brain is the oldest part of the brain
Mhm.
that is responsible for the fight, flight, freeze. That's the part that keeps us alive.
Mhm.
But let me tell you that the brain is built to make you survive, not to make you happy. The brain is built for survival and for safety and to be able to operate under pressure, right? Instincts hit, shortcuts are running the whole time, all the time.
Mhm.
99.99% of sensory information that your brain is getting is just filtered out. And those filters, you need to have those filters under control.
Okay.
But first of all, I think the part that we need to understand is that when you in fight or flight, fight, right? When you're in panic mode,
Right, right.
your control center in your mind is not able to operate. So
Mhm.
when you act out of oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, like nobody has
Right.
bought this yet, or I don't know where to find it.
Mhm.
So to your point, how do you come back into being grounded and being clear? And that is all about starting with your own mindset.
Mhm.
That is all about being very mindful. Um, and I think that really ties nicely to the name of your show.
Mhm.
Be mindful with the people, like about the people that you surround yourself with.
Mhm.
Because if in your environment, you know that like we're the sum of the five people we spend most
Yes,
time
we
with,
are.
right? If you have people that keep telling you that'll never work,
Right.
that's so scary, you should stick with your job,
Mhm.
you should stick with the perceived safety of your
Right.
paycheck and all that. Like if you have people in your life that keep telling you that, well,
Mhm.
that, my friend, is your reality.
Mhm.
And you believe that. If like, you know, consciously or subconsciously, but
Right.
that is your reality. So the very first thing you want to do is surround yourself with people that have have sailed stormy weathers
Mhm.
before, people who've done it before, looking to people who have a mindset and have an attitude that is all figure outable,
Mhm.
one step at a time. And to your point, connecting it back to just go outside, go bring that product on the
Mhm.
market, talk to real people, because you can noodle on that product and the proposition and the marketing message and all that. You can marinate in it for years if
Right.
you, and many people do that. They just sit there and have this really great idea and they're just holding it back and close to their vest because they think, I'm just not ready.
Mhm.
But you'll never be ready. And the beauty about entrepreneurship is nobody will come to tell you that you're ready.
Mhm.
So it all starts with you. It starts with your mindset, it starts with your own attitude, and it starts with having this unwavering conviction that you're the person that got this idea and there's a reason this idea found you. So having the confidence to decline and reject negativity and
Mhm.
voices that tell you that this will never work,
Mhm.
and people will tell you that's just not good enough. The only person you should listen to is A, yourself, and then B, your consumer.
Mm.
But you only find them if you go out there. So this is why MVPs, minimal viable products, are so
Mhm.
important. Prototyping. This is why people go to these hackathons, go to networking meetings, get
Right.
out there, go out in whatever your industry is, go and talk to people because that's the only way for you to get real data
Mm-hmm.
because that's what all is. You get 99 no's, you
Yeah.
only need one yes.
Right.
And all those no's are data.
Right.
So those are not feedback to you as a person. Those are not a judgment call for if you qualified or not, or if the idea is good or not. It's just a no, not here, no,
Right.
not yet, keep looking. And so
Wow.
it's, I know this was like a wild bouquet of stuff that I'm kind of throwing at you, but it's so important. And it all ties back to your own mind and to the clarity that you want to create first and hold on to that. Um, and then be brave and then be
Mm.
brave to go out there and really talk to real people and not your uncle, right? Because he might just be like, ah, that's stupid, we don't need another crayon, we didn't have those crayons back then.
I know, right?
Okay, uncle, cool, 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 yeah. He's not the audience, he's not
Right.
the audience.
Right.
So it's really, really important to be super mindful with your own, like the data that you allow in your own brain to
Mm-hmm.
come in, the voices, the feedback, the data in the market,
Mm-hmm.
collecting that from your people, your audience. And then oftentimes is when it feels really scary,
Mm.
you're probably onto something because your brain is, whoop, that's new. Wait, we don't
Right.
know this. This is unfamiliar. It's trying to just reject this because it's new and it's just programmed to keep you safe. It's not programmed to drive innovation.
So how do we stay authentic? Because after we do all that research, but a lot of times, for most of us, we're looking at social media 100% of the time, right? And if you listen to some episodes that Nadia had been on, some other podcast episodes, she talked about journaling, how the importance really of that. So please look at all of Nadia's content. But but I want to go back to this idea of authenticity because a lot of times we get caught up in looking at what we think we should be. So let's go back to the uncle, right? He talks about this
Mm.
crayon. Well, if you just add a little bit more yellow, because that's what we used when I was in Get Set, or grade school, whatever it might have been, over 57 years ago, because that was most popular at that particular time. But not understanding that things have changed, colors have changed. We're dipping and dabbling a little bit more with being a little bit more outside of the box. So how do we stay authentic if other people keeps wanting to put us back into the box?
Mm. I like the how you choose like the box with the crayon box. You see what's going on there.
Yes, I do.
I see what you're doing. Well, I would say authenticity starts, like, let's define what authenticity means.
Hmm.
And in my world, authenticity means being true to yourself
Hmm.
and having integrity. And that means first and foremost showing up for yourself
Hmm.
and holding the promises that you make yourself. That for me is
Mm.
integrity, and that for me is authenticity. And oftentimes, I mean, you know it in your own business too, right? In marketing, people always think branding is this mask we have to put on.
Right.
But in my opinion, branding, especially when it comes down to personal branding
Hmm.
and therefore being really clear about who you are
Right.
and showing up authentically, not as a mask,
Right.
it's not about putting on something that you're not,
Hmm.
but it's about finding what is it that makes you you. And the same is for your product. What is it that makes it special? What is that makes it uniquely positioned to solve this problem that you need to be able to define?
Hmm.
And once you have that, I think it's almost like it almost creates a filter because you'll see that that is your truth and that is your reality and nothing else matters.
Mm.
So I think in my coaching, I work a lot you know, with technologies and tools and tricks. You mentioned journaling that are really based in neuroscience. And one really important tool in our brain
Hmm.
is this part. It's called the reticular activating system. It's called the RAS. So the RAS is a bundle of neurons and it sits on top of our brainstem. Boop, just
Hmm.
sits there. It's really old. It's a bundle of neurons. And so what it does is essentially a gateway that sits between the impulses, the neurosenses that come in from the body, because it sits between the brainstem and the brain essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So it sits in between there, and it's almost the gatekeeper of, is this information relevant right now? Am I even letting it through to the brain, right? And so the RAS
Mm-hmm.
is running on heavy filters. It's like your inbox, right? There's so many filters and spam filters, and then Outlook has the like, primary and
Right.
focus and stuff. You just like, it's this one email you're looking for, it's probably in spam, because your
Right.
filter doesn't know. It just acts based on assumptions. It just wants to predict whatever is important for you right now.
Mm-hmm.
And the cool thing though is that you can program your RAS. So if you keep telling yourself that success is gonna cost hustle and pain,
Mm.
and you got to work really hard, and more hours means more money and all of that, because that's quite honestly how society is teaching us. This is what we see in the movies, right? Work hard, play hard, the
Right.
hustle is real. And I've been there. I worked in corporate for over 20 years, right? So
Trust me, I understand.
yeah, guilty, right? Like corporate survivalist here. And it's, you learn that the busier you are, the more successful you become. And that
Mm-hmm.
might have been true and might have been a rule of thumb that worked for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But when you want to build a business that is easeful and joyful, because gee, this is your business. If it's
Right.
not joyful and easy and fun and exciting and fulfilling, then is it your business? And do you even like, then that's just another job. But
Mm.
so the crazy thing about the RAS is, unless you really intentionally reprogram it, it's
Mm-hmm.
only going to show you exactly that truth, that work is hard and success comes from, money equals time and
Right.
all those things. These are factually not true. So when you learn to reprogram your RAS, meaning
Mm-hmm.
telling yourself the things that you want to see, which is where journaling comes in,
Right.
which is where manifestation, positive mindset, and all
Mm-hmm.
the things coming in, and they all seem so ridiculous. Just telling myself every day that I'm going to have such an amazing day, and it's going to be so exciting, and the right people are just coming my way and all this. But I'll tell you, Maurice, this is how this works.
Right. Right.
Because the more you tell yourself that people are looking for this product,
Mm-hmm.
people can't wait to throw their money at me to
Mm-hmm.
buy this crayon, and I truly, genuinely understand that this is what dad is looking for his son for the
Mm-hmm.
arts and crafts program. Like, when you know that and you keep telling yourself that, your rest, now
Mm-hmm.
back to that,
Mm-hmm.
thinks, wait a minute. We keep hearing this.
Mm-hmm.
This must be true. This is familiar. So now you can reprogram your brain to look actively for exactly confirmation of that truth.
Mm-hmm.
So you can train yourself, and you can brainwash yourself to believe anything. And that is the beauty when you understand the neuroscience behind mindset and behind marketing, because that is
Mm-hmm.
connected,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because guess what? Other people have brains too. Other people have RAS, reticular activating systems too.
Right.
So once you understand how to hack your own brain, you can understand to build a marketing strategy, a message, a blueprint for your business that just clicks, because it's
Mm.
founded scientifically in understanding how you work, how your brain works, and how you can really filter out all the negativity. And in the end, you'll see that when you, all the way bringing this all back to authenticity
Right.
and to integrity, once you know who you are and act like the person you want to become, it will happen, because your brain is now showing you evidence that this
Mm-hmm.
is true, that
Right.
people need this crayon, that people have been looking for this, that people have the money to spend extra couple bucks for this.
Mm-hmm.
So create your own version of reality, and you'll see that things fall into place.
So before we end this off, because again, you said a whole lot. You said a whole mouthful. Um,
I know I talk a lot. I warned you in the beginning.
and that's fine. That's fine with me, because there's a lot that we can glean off of. But there's one word that I really want to bring to everyone's attention. It's consistency. That's what I heard, is consistency.
Yes.
If I had to break it down just a little more for those that couldn't read between the lines, right? Some of that is consistent, because you have to constantly talk yourself through as an entrepreneur. Because sometimes you wake up in the morning like, I don't know if I could do it today. I don't know if I could put out that post today. I'm not sure if I can go and talk to 5 people today, because you have some challenges and stuff that some coaches are doing, and so you're not sure if you can actually live up to the expectations. And so, can you just talk to us maybe a little bit about yourself? Because again, sometimes being yourself causes consistency as well, because we get caught up in trying to be somebody else or something else. So, even for yourself, just what does that word consistency mean to you?
To me, consistency means commitment and this unwavering belief that you're onto something.
Mm.
So for me, consistency shows up in so many different ways. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, whoever might be looking at this with a video, I have pink hair.
Mm-hmm.
That is not for everyone. But guess what? You meet me once, it's the business coach with the pink hair.
Right.
And for me, that is not just the ultimate middle finger to corporate, just
Mhm.
saying, but it is just something that
Kinda.
reminds me every day who I am,
Right.
that I'm not for everyone.
Right.
And that I'm the way I positioned myself in my business and this unapologetically just being me
Mm-hmm.
and not really fitting in anywhere else.
Mhm.
And therefore I created my own else. I created my own
Right.
environment because I didn't fit in anywhere else.
Right.
And so to me, consistency starts with being real with yourself. And when you have these moments that you just described in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
be really, really mindful about the thoughts that you're allowing, because thoughts are not facts.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts trigger emotions and emotions cause action.
Mm.
Have to keep that in mind. But thoughts are just data points.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, consistency is daily journaling. I have my affirmations, I have my mantras, and it's just this second nature for me to get up and I open my eyes. And I'm not a morning person, I'm not gonna lie, but I wake up, I'm gonna be like, dang, I'm so excited to talk to Maurice today. And I have 4 client sessions today, and I cannot wait to see where they at and see how I can serve them. And so to me, that is consistency,
Mm-hmm.
is showing up on a daily basis for yourself. Treat yourself right, be good to yourself, believe in yourself, because who else will?
Mm-hmm.
But once you start doing that, that is where people will start seeing you, be like, oh, that's what this one is all about. Okay.
Right. Right.
But it only works when you're really clear, you're consistent,
Mm-hmm.
and you believe in yourself. And that's where it really starts. It really starts, especially you guys, when you're switching from employment to being an entrepreneur. You got to shed everything that you learned. You got to really show up for yourself first and really have under control what you're thinking and what quote unquote data points you're allowing in.
Wow. So, Nadia, again, you keep throwing out nuggets. We can do this for a whole hour. So, like,
Yes,
it's
please.
easy. It's simple. It's simple. But for those individuals, though, that really need more information from you, that really need to dig a little deeper, where can they find you and talk to you? I mean, like I said, you have been on guests on other podcasts. If y'all follow her on TikTok or Instagram, whatever it is. So, where can people find you to get more information?
All right. So I would love to meet you guys on LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn is my biggest channel, really. And I post constantly about, free resources, but you can also check out my website. I bet we're going to put them all in the show notes for y'all.
Yes.
And one thing that I just want to offer, I just finished I call it my magnetic messaging playbook. And so if you're interested how to build your core messaging, how to identify your audience, how to pressure test your idea, that could be a really cool place to start. It's super free. You can just check it out. It's on the website. Just download it, and it might give you first kind of pointers into the right direction.
Nice, nice. Of course, as Nadia stated, it will be in the show notes. So if you're walking, running, whatever it is, climbing Mount Everest,
Be careful.
it's still there, right? I know, right? But it will be there as well. But Nadia, thank you very much for bringing calm and clarity to the listeners today. I appreciate that. But before I let you go, I do have one more question for you. It's my would you rather question. I ask all my guests.
Oh,
and
curveball.
right. But there's no right or wrong answer. There's no right or wrong answer. So would you rather choose 3 doors or a fork in the road?
3 doors or
A fork in the road.
I would go with a fork in the road.
Any particular reason why?
Well, because I would say, okay, yeah. Now that I'm thinking about it, I mean, I would probably be interested in both. So for me, the fork in the road is like the way I envisioned it immediately was like, well, I can see roughly where the road is taking me, so I have a little bit more information than 3 closed doors in front of me.
Mm,
So that's where my brain went.
so
Like you can turn your head a little and see what's out there, maybe a little before you choose which turn. So that's where my brain went.
so remember I said there's no parameters. Use your, you could use your imagination, right? And so what if the doors were glass? What if they were acrylic? What if you've seen that movie Inception and the roads, I don't know if you saw that movie, but where the buildings and
Oh
everything else
yeah.
moved up, so what if the roads you were able to see them as they were going up? Again, it all depends on your imagination and whether or not we're in a box or not.
True.
And so sometimes I guess our initial reaction can be a little more boxy than we anticipate.
True that.
And so that's just, but it's just a fun way of just ending off the show.
Love it.
And I really thank you very much because I think that most people, and when I started asking the question, most people were wanting the doors. But right now, the trend right now is, hey, I want the roads. I want to see what's going on. Road less travel.
Now that would be a whole interesting piece to talk about for an hour, just to be like, why? What's the
Right.
psychology behind that? What's the mindset? What's the society's impact on the
Hmm.
decision? Because you said you observed it changing over time. Ah, man, that's so interesting. Now I want to learn more. Now you got me hooked.
I know, right? And I think that is something how, if we look at society, which way are they deciding to go? What, do they want more options, less options? What do they see the doors representing? Is there a lock on there, a combination? Because again, our imagination kind of throws us off.
True. It boxes us in because in the
Right,
end, maybe you could have asked, well, out of the doors, can I go back? Can I open all the doors before I have to walk through the door? But we don't really go there because the closed door feels like, well, it feels like so one way, but maybe
right.
it's not, right? Maybe you
No,
challenge those perception a
right.
little. I
And
love it.
and to what you just stated, no one said all the doors can't be open. It's
Yeah.
it's
I would
you.
probably open them all before I decide. Let me go back.
I know,
Open
right?
the doors.
Someone did say like they wanted more options, and they could see everything behind each door. So for me, it doesn't matter which way you go. All of it is a learning experience.
Absolutely.
And to be honest, some roads, some doors might get you. You're still gonna go into the right direction. It's just a matter. One might take you a little longer than the other. That's all.
I agree, Maurice. I think it's a really good, I think that's a really good note to end on because
Hmm.
any strategy works if you believe in it, if you're consistent,
Hmm.
if you have a good strategy in place. Like but in the end, any strategy works. But if you go to one of the doors and you keep talking and thinking about, oh, maybe I should have gone the other door, and maybe
Yep.
what if, and what could have, and should I, and go through the freaking door or go on the fork, but then go and keep going.
Right.
Because it doesn't really help you to live in the past. And if I wish I would have made different decisions. I wish I left my job earlier. I wish I jumped on this trend before that. Like, you
Right.
don't, you gotta live now. You're gonna make the most out of what is today and what the kind of the cards you dealt. So I love that.
Right.
Go
Yeah.
through your door and then just keep walking. Keep
I,
walking.
look, who knows? It's up to you. You create your reality, as you stated earlier in the show.
Huh? Yes, exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
So. But I thank you very much for coming on, and I appreciate you a lot.
Thank you for having me, Maurice.
You're welcome,
Great
and
talk.
thank you for everyone for listening today. There's some challenges as I've been letting you, the audience, know that we should do. Just to practice what we spoke about today. Write down what feels most chaotic in your business or in your personal life, and ask, what's the one thing I can do today that can simplify this week? And then maybe clarify your message. If you only had 10 seconds to explain what you do and why it matters, and what would you say about it? So I thank you very much for listening today, and I'll talk to y'all just a little bit later.
Thanks for listening. Follow Maurice Chisholm on social media to stay connected and check back weekly for new episodes. Until next time, that will never work.